Okay, hi all. I'm going to talk today a little bit about the narration essay and talk about really one of these days because one of these days is really a good example of kind of what I'm looking for in this essay. If you think about the story, one of these days, it opens up. We get a little brief description of Aurelio and the setting, and really the entire story is this interaction between Aurelio and the mayor. We're never really told what the history is between the two. All we know is that there's some kind of animosity between Aurelio and the mayor, and this has caused basically Aurelio to decide, I'm not gonna pull your tooth. And it's not until he sees the state, the physical condition of the mayor that he decides ultimately, okay, he sees the mayor, half swollen face, half shaven, all of that, and then it's really that compassion that relents. But if you think about the story like as a whole, this story really is, we don't really know what's going on in this story. We don't really get an intro. We don't get an exit. We don't know what happens before this day that has caused, this animosity between Aurelio and his men. We don't know what's going on after this day that has caused, we don't know whether the mayor comes back with his troops. You made me pay, so now we're doing this. We don't totally know what's going on for those. So all we really get in this story is those moments, the moments between, the mayor coming, the day dawning early, and then the mayor leaving. That's all we get. It's like a short. It's all we see. We don't see, what happens before, what happens after. For a lot of people, this is very confusing or very off-putting because it's like, there should be more to this story. I mean, why is the story called One of These Days? What does it mean, one of these days? Why aren't we given this information? Um, well, that's actually one of the reasons that I start with this story, because you don't really get a lot of background information or foreground information. What you get are those moments in between, the moments that we actually see. It's a very visual story. It's filled with dialogue. It's filled with, a little the imagery. It's not like stacked full of imagery, but the imagery that is there is very poignant. The mayor feels the icy void in his kidneys as he's pulling his teeth, right? So the show the story does two things that I really want you guys to understand and really try to apply to your essays. So the first thing that it does is it shows, it doesn't tell. So we see this concept. Ooh, let me see it there. We see it says show, don't tell. And essentially what I mean by show, don't tell is I don't want you to tell me a story. I don't want you to tell me about something that's happened to you. I want you to bring me there. Just like, Gabriel Garcia Marquez doesn't explain, what happened between the mayor and Aurelio. All he does is bring us to that moment, and we're there to witness it and take from it what we can, understand it for ourselves. The same exact thing with this essay. I don't want you to, give me a whole backstory, explain what's happening, explain what happened, explain how that happened made you feel, and all of those things. For this essay, I want you to show without telling. I want you to think cinematically. Or what think cinematically means is basically think like it's a movie. If there were a video camera recording this event that's had some kind of impact or effect on your life. But let's say there's a video camera recording it, just hovering in the air, recording those events. What would that camera have picked up? What could a viewer look at and learn about your life and that event through that camera lens? I mean, that lens isn't going to give any backstory. It's not going to have a voiceover of somebody saying this happened and then I felt like this and all of that. What the camera is going to give you essentially is it'll give you setting, it'll give you people or the people in the story. We'll see what they said and we'll see what they did. That's basically it. We're not going to get into all of this exposition. There'll be a little bit of, we will see the setting a bit, but even then, that's something that can be cursorily explained. If you were to really watch a video of these moments, what you'll find is that it's full of action and words. So the goal for this essay is really to think about that. You're really going to share this experience to me cinematically. Essentially, what you're trying to do is bring me, the viewer or the reader, bring me to this moment so I can kind of see what happened to you, understand what happened to you. There's no need for you to tell me what happened to you or to explain, things. Really bring me there, and then as far as like what happened and what's going on, I should be able to figure that out for myself. Just like, we don't know totally what's going on with Aurelio and the mayor, but we know that there's something, there's 20 dead men that Aurelio somehow blames the mayor for. We know that, we don't know if it's ineptitude or just cruelty that's caused the death of these men, but we know for some reason Aurelio holds the mayor as the blame. So the same thing. I might not know all the inner workings of your story or what's going on, but what I will hopefully be able to tell are what happens during those moments. So essentially this essay, it's a narrative essay. Like I said, it's a story. It's a story that I want you guys to think about cinematically. Think about showing me a story, not telling me a story. So anytime you feel a need to kind of explain what was happening or, giving me indirect dialogue, summarizing, I would say cut that. I would say go away from it. Think about the lead as well. A lot of the leads were kind of like expository. They seemed like they were explaining what was going to happen or things like that. Think about it. A lead should grab a reader's attention. It should set a tone, and it should entice the reader to read more. So you want your lead to be engaging. You want it to really attack. Not attack the reader, but you want the reader to be grabbed by your lead and just immediately drawn into your story. Not kind of feel like, okay, well, this might get interesting at some point, or what is this all about? Let me see here. So they did this, okay. So what is the actual story? Right. You don't want that. You want to jump in, bam. So one thing I say, and I wrote on some of you guys' leads, I say start with story and end with story. Start with the story and end with the story. There's no need for preface or background or all of that stuff, prologue or epilogue. Just give me the story. All right. Well, so that's it. So basically this essay, it's 3 to 4 pages. It's on to the 4th page. The first drafts have to be due and turned in by Sunday. This is one of those papers that if you don't have the first draft, then it's unfortunate for you, but you've kind of, bombed 1/3 of the course about. So if you're going to prioritize anything, prioritize making sure this week that you get those narration drafts. I'm going through the narration leads. I'm still writing comments on some of those. Those should be finished by tonight or tomorrow. So check those out. Kind of check out my comments on those for direction. But really, I would say, remember, the key thing for this essay, think it's a story. Yes, it's a narrative essay. Yes, it's that, but it's not like, intro, body, conclusion. You're telling me a story, a true story about something that's happened in your life. That makes sense? All right. I hope that does. And take care.